What's up, nerds? We have another fine episode of WarHAMMERED this evening, and we are just kind of drunk and disorderly and don't really have anything that specific to talk about. Um, but we were just kind of having a little bit of a brainstorm session. We are in the New England area. We are working on putting together a large narrative event, and we're in like the really early planning brainstorming stages of how to put the whole thing together and designing boards and things like that right now. And we've got Maroc on, who is like the king of awesome board building.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Well, I mean, you've done some awesome shit, and we will commend you for that.
Well, thank you. It's appreciated.
Yeah. So one thing that actually just like recently popped into my memory was a discussion, and I looked this up. It was literally 2 years ago that this discussion was happening. And that was that with AOS rules and what we can do with terrain, like we can easily make a very three-dimensional AOS board, right?
Yeah, it plays up well. The I don't know. To me, it plays like old Mordheim, right? Like you can go up, which is pretty fantastic. It's harder to do with big blocks of dudes.
Yes. And it's definitely a challenge for some armies, especially like, the big horde armies and, like Iron Jaws, like really wanting to get lots of guys into a small space.
That's when they start falling off.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, it was just sort of reminiscent, like thinking about that idea again, and like what you can do in 3 dimensions with AOS. That I feel like a lot of people really haven't, like even in like the big narrative events, people haven't really latched onto that idea too much. I know like at Holy Wars and Holy Havoc, they had like a couple of tables that had like multi-tier things going on.
Yeah. Turner's like crazy table about the with his realms, that amazing freaking table with like the sky islands. Yeah,
this table's awesome.
It is.
Get it off.
Better one.
Yeah, that table's great.
Yeah. I don't know, the idea that I came up with just pondering this today is, building a table that's like a Caradron skyport. And having like areas of the board that are just like negative space, that are like, it's just like clouds. And like instead of having like impassable terrain in the way, it's like you have passable terrain and then like nothing.
Wide gateways and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't touch the hot lava.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll do that too. Everybody, you have to have a hot lava board. It's part of the rules.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the hot lava board.
I'm going to work on like making I'm trying different techniques to make like cotton balls or the stuffing for teddy bears look look cool and not just be plain boring clouds. So I think it's gonna be some like, I want to try putting this stuff right here, neolac oxide, through an airbrush. I haven't yet. I'm kind of scared I'll clog it up, but I think that'd be a really cool cloud effect. Throw some darker tones, like some camo shade in there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
some blinking LEDs.
Yeah.
You were gonna have to.
KO. It'd be cool to have a matching table for the KO. It'd be crazy.
you are going to have to thin the living bejesus out of that.
Yeah.
Just because the pigment density is so high.
Yeah.
Speaking of vanillic oxide, I need to actually be using that because I'm working on my Blight Kings.
Nice.
So I have 20 Blight Kings to paint and 1 done.
Yeah, I'm just getting all of my KO done. I gotta get it all done. What's my deadline? June 8th for Triumph GT?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much my deadline for my Nurgle as well. But I think I have a lot less to go than you do.
Yeah, I have some work to do.
Yeah. I really just have my Blight Kings left to do. And maybe a Glot King if I pick him up.
I should have picked him up the other day.
I almost did. It almost happened. The irresponsible move was almost made. Always
the right move.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
But yeah, I'm pondering basically doing a Plague Touch Warband with 4 units of Blight Kings, Glotkin, Harbinger of Decay, Gutrot Spume, and a Lord of Afflictions. And then there's like some slack points after that I'm not sure what to do with.
More Blight Kings.
That is possible.
What do you think after the tournament last weekend? Do you think we'd go more Plague Bearers?
I don't know. There's definitely a problem with running a Blight King heavy list that you just don't have a body count on the table. And in a lot of scenarios, you kind of need that.
What's the max size on Blight Kings?
20, I think. But they're 160 points for 5. So
yeah, but how many units are you running already?
Yeah, I mean, I was running them this weekend. I ran 2 units of 5 and a unit of 10, and that unit of 10 did some work.
Yeah, so imagine what a unit. What size base are they on? Are they on 32s or are they on 40s?
They're on 40s.
Are they on 40s or 50s?
Pretty sure they're 40s.
Same size as a Stormcast?
Let me grab a Stormcast and see. Yeah, same size as a Liberator.
Okay, so yeah, they're 40s.
Yeah, so there's definitely a space issue with that and a points issue with that. But holy crap, are they good?
Mm-hmm.
In Blight Cyst, just getting rend on Blight Kings is obnoxious.
Now, I get that it's crazy good, but how do you deal with stuff that has the save after save? Is it just through sheer weight of dice that you hope to get through stuff like that, or
weight of attacks?
Just dice, lots and lots of dice. You're just throwing so many attacks at your opponent that stuff just eventually dies.
So it's the Skin Wolf tactic. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's
literally the same thing.
Yeah. Except they're also seriously tough too at the same time.
They've got a 4-up save?
Yeah, they got a 4-up save and they're 4 wounds each.
Yeah. Well, Skin Wolves are 4 wounds each too, but yeah.
Yeah.
They have a 5-up.
6-up save or something like that.
They're a 5-up, and then mine have the 6-up after save because the War Shrine's there. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I had them backed up by a Harbinger of Decay too, so they were getting the 5-up save.
Once you get that guy in there, it it blows everything else out of the water. It makes me really, really wish that I could give Skinwolves a mark.
And then I usually had my great unclean one behind it with the Wither Stave that makes your opponent re-roll their successful 6s to hit.
That's such a good artifact.
It is so good. It's like that and the Rust Fang are just ridiculous. Like flying around with your Lord of Afflictions, just being like, and you're -1 to save, and you're -1 to save, and you're -1 to save.
That, and then you're with the Plague Touched, you're already -1 to hit. So like, it's like, yeah, you're -1 to hit, and reroll those 6s, please. Wait, would that work then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not worded as 6 or more. It's just
okay.
So it's hard 6s get rerolled.
Perfect then. Perfect.
It is a dick move.
I really hate like how the modifiers thing got worked in, like how they, I guess, I don't know, overcomplicated it by how they work it now, because it's like you do this and then apply the modifiers afterwards or some shit. So it's like all right, so I'm gonna do my save and then apply the rend after I roll my save, and then I'm gonna do my rerolls after that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's really, nobody plays that right. I think Tom is like the only person that plays that correctly.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because it's the way that they want you to play it is stupid. It's like, okay, well, I got this bonus to my save and this bonus to my save, but I have a regular 4-up. So I'm going to ignore the bonuses that I have. I'm going to roll the dice, look for the 4s, and then if I don't see any 4s and I have a reroll, I'm going to reroll everything that isn't 4 or higher. And then after that, I'm going to apply the bonuses for my save to see if I actually passed. And then I'm going to apply your rend and see if I passed. So it's like, why don't I just roll my fucking save with the bonuses, apply your rend, and then see what I saved, and then re-roll what I didn't?
Yeah.
Like, does that not sound simpler? Like,
that sounds like how literally everybody I know plays it.
Like, it's just dumb. Like, stupid. Just stupid.
Very annoying. But yeah, we have some ambitious thoughts about event creation.
If you guys are doing a narrative thing, you should totally add in like if it's a narrative campaign, I really feel like you guys should have like a Mordheim like damage table thing. So like if your general gets killed in a game, then like he should have to roll on a table to see what happens to him.
Yeah, that sort of thing was kind of a thought in there. We haven't totally fleshed out those ideas yet, but like having some progression of your heroes is definitely in part of the plan.
Like not having it be so harsh as to where like your general can die in between games and then you can't use him in the next game, but have it so like if he gets like knocked out or whatever, I think it'd be really cool to see that kind of progression, and then you've got this like haggard, grizzled general at the end of the tournament going into this last game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's part of what we want to do. Is we want I don't know if we want to have like really harsh death stuff or really like good rewards, because we want to keep like from campaign to campaign. We kind of want people to keep some of their, abilities or rewards or things that happen, so they're almost creating the story behind their army as they go campaign to campaign to campaign.
Right. I would literally take Vince and Tom's chart out of the AOS Mordheim thing that they did, cut out the stuff where you like auto die, and just use that. Because like it's got like psychological things that can happen to the dude. like actual physical injuries, and then there's one more. It's like physical, mental, and something else.
That's definitely interesting.
Hurt to the reputation.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like, that I really want to try and incorporate into a narrative event is having things on the board that will permanently modify heroes in your army. Like
example?
Like there being artifacts that you can pick up on the map.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Short, small bonuses. They might not have been. It might not even last, but yeah.
You know what?
Like
what they should be, like stuff you pick up on the board, but it's one use only stuff.
Yeah,
that
like
would all, like
yeah, like your hero finds like a potion or something like that. That's like a one-time use, and it doesn't have to be this game. They can carry it over to the next game.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be real cool.
I've got lots of fun ideas.
Yeah. You know,
like I said it jokingly, but I almost wonder if like reputation will be something cool that would carry over. People are looking to make their reputation better, or they do something that gives them a total shit reputation.
Yeah.
That's many steps in, but fun idea. Jotted it down.
Yeah. And that's the long list of things.
Mm-hmm.
Might be worth doing too, to like start the tournament out with like not a full 2,000 point game, maybe have like a 500 point game.
Yeah, we want to definitely start off, smaller and focus more on, your revered war bands and heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah. The other idea that we were batting around too is like the TO acting more like a DM does in an RPG.
Okay, yeah. That would be hard. You'd have to like
managing like 12 games going on at once would be hard doing that.
Yeah, like I don't know, it seems like if you were going to do that, you'd have to have like each game would be its own separate narrative, but everybody's running the same story. You know what I mean? Like
right. Which is kind of the concept that like we want everything to actually be really narrative. Like all of the things going on have something to do with each other.
Yeah.
And that there's a greater story going on over the whole event.
Right.
I think it's another good way, like I said, the ref, but it's definitely a way to keep people that are like, somebody's had shit rolls and somebody's had great rolls. You kind of softly relegate things.
Yeah. I mean, and one of the things that I love is the idea of having like NPCs show up.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys should do is roaming monsters.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like, oh, you've had a particularly bloody battle. Scarbrand is very interested in this.
Yeah. Or something crazy like if you've got dudes like fighting in the realm of fire or something like that, and they're like, you guys have been battling way too loudly, and a magma dragon has shown up because you're being too noisy.
Yeah.
And that's another layer in the concept is we kind of thought it'd be like cool to have these war bands actually be like cartographers, like trying to find new realm gates and ways to zip around the realm. I don't know, it's kind of a loose concept right now, but I think it'd be fun to almost make that a mechanic. Like people aren't just trying to stab you in the face. They're trying to get that piece of a map out of a well or whatever, so they can find a realm gate, so they can go to different parts of the board in the middle of a game.
Right. Oh, that'd be a crazy thing to do too, where you guys have got like realm gates everywhere, and like you're playing a tournament game, and then all of a sudden you're up against two people instead of
Yep, and you better hope you got enough people you can get the hell out of there before they. Yeah, and that's kind of the concept of, and that's another one of the concepts of having smaller armies. Is if you do go through one of these realm gates, you're not picking up 2,000 points worth of stuff.
Yeah, or like just have it so if they go through, like you'd have to have it so like you could have multiple things go through the realm gates instead of just one per turn.
Exactly.
But have it so like you could have a priest like guide them through, and then you've got rerolls on everything, right?
Just like the goblin from Malign Portents.
Yeah.
We got all the night goblins riled up and sent them to Shaiish.
Got them all riled.
Yeah. I feel like we need to do like fluff research too.
Well, that's Bob is
Yeah, Bob's definitely the guy for that. He's like the third member of our team that's just not here at the moment. That create not just creating boards that are boards, but creating like actual places from the mortal realms
and taking what's happened and weaving a story out of it. That's what his forte is.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is he's the most important member of the team in terms of like.
I mean, we're throwing a lot of ideas around right now.
Tons.
That is we just have like this endless text message chain going on, and hopefully like somebody that's not me is taking all of this stuff down in documents somewhere.
No, that's your job. You're the fucking OCD guy who's supposed to be like the numbers guy. You should be recording everything.
Yep, that is not on my OCD list of things to do.
On my OCD list of things to do. That's what I've got my sticky notes here. I've got your notes app open here. Yep. I got everything written down. I've actually copied history out of Messenger, which I keep on my desktop, and put into notes and gone through and edited them.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many cool things that you can do.
Yep.
That, I don't know, I feel like there's so much untapped potential for creating really interesting events. And I know I definitely want to like get like Steve Herner on eventually and like talk to him about like what's worked, what hasn't worked. Because I know that for one of the holy events, I forget if it was Wars or Havoc, they tried having like that like escalating general, and it was way out of control.
Yeah, they had it wasn't way out of control. They had the warlords or whatever, and it like the warlords obviously got really powerful towards the end of the game because there was like a certain loadout that just made him ridiculously powerful, but like he fixed that for the next one, and the warlord was still really powerful, but I mean he's your friggin' warlord. He's kind of supposed to be.
Yeah. Yep. I like that general concept of like, you know, you have like your heroes are the focal point of your army, right? And the rest of your guys are just kind of grunts.
I think they should like every time be able to like get rewards and get leveled up too, because I don't think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Rather than just
you'd have to
have your like loyal Arcanauts you can rely on that has, you know, some guy that's used his light skyhook so many times and done wondrous things with it, he gets his own name. You know what I mean? I think that's fun.
Yeah. What could be actually cool too is applying some of this stuff to the Shadespire warbands.
And that's funny that you mentioned that, because I definitely 100% had that in my mind, because I think that's a great, like Shadespire is a great low-cost way for people to get involved in Age of Sigmar. I don't know.
Shadespire should have been more time, period. They should have just done more time. Like
they're doing something different. I'm sure they will do Mordheim eventually. I think it's just.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think they're trying to gain more market. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to bring more of the Magic players in with it.
Yeah.
Board gamers.
I guess. I'm just sick of seeing card games. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Card games are good. They're awesome. You want to bring more people in. That's fantastic. I just want to see more my Mordheim. That's all.
I love Mordheim. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent playing Mordheim, but
you're talking to a guy who built a 6x4, like molded out of plaster Mordheim table. Like,
yeah,
it is like by far the best game like ever. Like, in my opinion, it's just fantastic.
It seemed like it really nicely coupled the tabletop aspect with the RPG aspect.
Yep.
Which is really like, I think like the goal of what I want to do with narrative events is make them basically be like an RPG, except we're playing a tabletop war game.
Well, good luck
having sessions. We get a bottle. What's that?
I said, good luck capturing lightning in a bottle, because that's what you're describing.
It's notorious for Mordheim campaigns to bottom out pretty fast after a few weeks. That's why we got to do things 3-4 weeks at a time if we're doing a campaign like that, or just in a day.
Yep. Exactly.
The thing like about Mordheim though is that like the important thing about that game was the scenarios. Like, everything else was great too, but like you needed good scenarios to have like a reason to go into this ridiculous city. Like,
that's
basically
precisely what we want to do. Yep.
Yeah.
So like, I think what you guys should do if you're going to do this crazy narrative campaign thing, which it sounds like you're going to do because you guys are both insane.
Yep.
So what I think you should do is actually go back and read through all of those old scenarios that are in that book, which you can get online for free.
Or you can get it from the bookshelf.
Yeah. and use crazy scenarios like that, like Big Daddy. Like, don't wake Daddy or whatever, where it's just like there's a giant in the middle of the board. Don't wake him up and steal his treasure. Like, who the fuck comes up with this shit? Because it's amazing. Yep. Like, amazing.
Yeah.
And like, there's all kinds of other intricate things that can go on with scenarios that are just like that. And like, giants in AOS aren't very good, but a lot of the dragons are. A lot of the other bigger monsters are. So you could just use those or make up your own and have a scenario like that where it's like, okay, don't wake this guy up. And if your opponent gets too close, if you got some ranged attacks, you could wake him up. And then your opponent.
Yeah.
So
there's also that whole like god beasts thing that was like in one book. Like, there was a book about god beasts, and they never talked about them again.
Yeah, I think it's because, I don't know, there was like things going around about models coming out, and to be perfectly honest, I think that Khorne dragon might have been something to do with that, because that model was like the size of a 4-foot section of a board.
Yeah.
So something AOS coach just pointed out, which is also on my mind all the time, is adding too much complexity, which is like, we don't want to hit people with this all at once. What we kind of want to do is like introduce these little like different mechanics each campaign.
Yeah.
Oh no, you want them completely overwhelmed right off the hop.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I feel like each scenario shouldn't actually be that complicated. Like the like what you're doing with like an overarching theme, it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be able to tell a good story.
Yep.
Yeah. Like something as simple as the open war cards and having something like Treasure Hunt, where it's like, okay, you guys take turns placing 6 objectives. You roll for each one you control at the end of the turn, and on a 6, that is the objective you actually have to control, and the rest of them come off.
So I played that on Wednesday, actually. And my first roll was a 6 from the objective.
Yeah.
And then on it was like, okay, I have to hold off all these Tzeentch dudes with 24 Skaven.
Yeah. Good luck.
With 24 Skaven. And it was just an incredible game. And it literally came down to like the turn before, I had cleared off all these pink horrors. In his turn, I had cleared off all these pink horrors, and he rolled a 1 for his battle shock test. Shit. And he brought back 6 more horrors. And I was like, that's not right. I can't have that. 'Cause I have my Skaven here. They're not going to let that happen. So I all but cleared them off again. It was turn 5. I had the last turn. It was the last roll of the game. And I had the objective. And what do you think he rolled?
Rolled a 1, didn't he?
Rolled another 1, yeah, and he won. It was awesome. That's the way games should go. It was awesome.
Like, I just finished watching a battle report from Venomous Wargaming with he took his Legion of Sacrament against a Clan Skyer list, and he had the Skaven player had 24 Clan Rats in front of his like Warp Lightning Cannon, and Arcan cast Curse of Years on him. Got 2 6s on the first roll, rolled a 5, 1 5 on the next roll, rolled another 5 after that, then rolled a 4, and then rolled another 4 and took the unit off because he got down to 1. So it was like, yeah, you got all those guys off of like 5 mortal wounds that you did to start with. Like, that is fucking ridiculous.
I thought you were going to say he had a 24-point Scryer Warband, which is what I was playing. A 24-model Scryer Warband, which is what I was playing. 24.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I played in the tournament. I did pretty good, I think, for 24 models. And having every scenario I didn't want to see and every matchup I didn't want to see. It was definitely a very swingy list, and I think I did really good for the first two rounds. And then I met my match with 130 Lizardman skinks.
Yes.
Where I had to hold multiple objectives. I was like, right, yeah, 24 models. What am I going to do here?
Yeah. Skinks are bad people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so I take it you were running like Acolytes and Storm Fiends then?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that list can be pretty harsh too, because it's like, yep, here's my Warpstone token, and I'm just going to double the amount of mortal wounds I just caused.
Yep.
I bet Paul's pretty happy he didn't draw my number.
I was very happy that I did not have to face that bullshit. Oh, that list is just such nonsense.
There's not okay. It's not that bad. There's lists out there with like 18 Skyfires in them.
Yep.
I would rather go up against Clan Skyer.
I faced that my first round was Tzeentch Change Host with just a crap load of Skyfires, and it was Duality of Death. So all I've got is like Arch Warlock is my best HQ to hold objectives, and I have a bunch of wimpy little warlocks running around with 5 wounds and a 5-up save. Yeah, I still managed to pull a major victory out of my hat somehow.
Yeah, I got so screwed in that match. I was up against Iron Jaws.
Yep.
And I grabbed one of the I got top of turn 1. I grabbed one of the objectives with my Lord of Afflictions. So okay, that's good. But the other objective I was trying to grab with my Great Unclean One, and he just completely bombed his run roll, and he got nowhere near the objective, and then I got double turned.
Yep.
And just
Iron
like
Jaws live and die by the double turn.
yeah, like I just got 2 units of pigs into my Great Unclean one, and his Maw Crusher went after the other objective. I ended up only losing the game by 1 scenario point. But it was like
that's the one you needed that first turn.
Yeah, it was very painful. And I had a unit I used Gut Rot Spume to deep strike my like a unit of 10 Blight Kings, and they went for a unit of 10 Brutes, and they just like totally whiffed on their attacks and like all died.
Ripped you a new one.
Yeah. I have never seen so many 1s and 2s in my life. It was just like blah, nothing.
Yep.
I don't think I rolled any 6s either on like the initial attack. It's like great. This is exactly how this is supposed to go. This is how math works, right? Right. Yeah. Law of large numbers says roll more dice, better things happen.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Iron Jaws are like grossly underestimated when it comes to like actual like play. People are just like, yeah, they're just big dumb orcs. They charge across the table at you, and that's it. It's like, no, they're not.
No, I played mine enough to know.
Like, yeah, like you get pigs in your face, and like they're hard to kill, and they do a decent amount of damage, and they just pin your stuff down. Like, so you can advance your own stuff.
Yeah, like I think the main thing that hurt them with the new GHB that came out was just the sheer cost of the battalions.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
Like Iron Fist, 220 points now. It's like, so I'm paying 220 points for an extra 2 wounds on a brute and a D6 move in my hero phase, and in that D6 move means I can't run? Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of adjustments in the next GHB to battalion points.
Yeah, I think so too. Like granted, I'm not complaining. I still think it's good for its points, but the Seraphon's Eternal Star Host went from 80 points to 130, and like it's still really good. Don't get me wrong. Like it's totally worth the 130 points, but like some of the jumps, like especially in the Iron Jaws and like Stormcast, where their points cost just went up by like 100 points. Like that, the Hammer Strike Battalion went from 120 to 220. It's like that is like another full unit of paladins. Like, why in the fuck am I even bothering with this? Like,
yeah,
a little tough. It has its advantages though, because when you can 1-drop on somebody and determine turn order.
Yeah, see, we don't play that way here. We think that's good. If you want to take advantage of battalions to get your drops down, like that's cool. But we always roll for first turn anyway, because I think that's dumb.
I think my list dumped about 350 points into battalions and engine covens with my Skaven.
Holy shit. Well, I guess you had to fill out the points somehow, only having 24 models on the board.
That was fun.
Now, was that a deliberate choice or was that a painting choice?
No, I have about 3,500 points of Skaven painted, so it was a deliberate choice. I just wanted to bring something crazy, something low model count, easy for me to move around, get my turns over with quick.
Right. Get your back
happen. It's better than facing my old Verminous list, right, Paul?
Oh, go fuck yourself with that list. That was so bad.
Just
like for like rule of 1 on artifacts, you would just like take 2 crowns of command and like oh, I've got like 3 maxed out units of dudes. that are just gonna fly across the table, and I'll send this unit of storm vermin at you with sail, and they'll all have like extra attacks and rend and whatever bullshit.
Down threes, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the army deleter.
Yeah. That was like the meanest Skaven list ever. And I'm really glad it doesn't work anymore.
I miss it. I hope they put out a Verminous book this year.
Yeah. I feel like they really missed by not having Clan Verminous have command abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually like really saddened about the Crown of Conquest not being a thing anymore too.
Yeah.
You're not the only one, because having my Bravery 5 skin wolves, you know, it's kind of nice to have them, a couple of those units immune to battle shock.
Yep. It's not like I don't think it was like it was broken when you could take more than one of them. But like, yeah, being able to just have like two inspiring presences, I don't think is like a big deal.
According to my opponent, it was. He was pretty happy about it.
Well, you know, there is this thing called sour grapes.
Yep.
Some people want to see you fail.
Remington's out there. It's got to be 3 o'clock in the morning for him.
Very nice.
And still, that's my hours I usually keep.
Yeah, well, he is, you know, life of a rock star, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Who is that?
Remington Steel.
Ah. Remington.
And our AOS coach says, Paul, get your free people back on the table.
Yeah, that'll happen as soon as they're good. I regret to inform everybody that Free Guild is just not that good right now. Like, I think with I like their command trait.
I think it's just you don't like their playstyle, because their playstyle was more or less, I turtle up in a corner and I'm going to shoot at you until you get here, and then when you get here, I'm going to shoot at you some more.
He likes to charge in with the Griffhounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe it's not that they're not good. It's just it's a playstyle that doesn't fit your liking. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's part of it. But if you look at like GT results, they're not doing well at GTs either.
Well, no, because most GTs, there's like a shit ton of fucking Skyfires running around, and what the fuck are you gonna do against like a shit ton of mortal wounds coming in your face? Like, most of those lists that get made don't have the points after they get everything in there that they want with all the detachments and shit to get a Luminarch in there to get the 6-up shrug. But
so did you guys see the list that came in at the top of the Adepticon Age of Sigmar tournament?
No, I did not.
You didn't know that?
Number one was the change host, right?
What's that?
Number one was the change host.
There's the change host. I forgot what number 2 is already, but I remember number 3 distinctly being Free People.
It was not actually Free People Allegiance.
No?
No, it was not.
Ooh.
It was, and I can tell you it was not Free People Allegiance just because it ran a Luminarch and a Hurricane. And that goes over your ally points.
At least you get those as allies.
So, like, the only things that were actually in that list that were Free Guild were a Free Guild general and I believe 2 units of 20 handgunners. And I think everything else was from something else.
Garbage.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that any of that is bad because, like, running a Luminarch and a Hurricanum is really good. Like, those two things together are very good.
Well, yeah, then your laser cannon's hitting on a 2, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, 2 up, 3 up is no joke with a flat 6 damage.
Yeah.
The thing's real good.
That's an ouches. And it's like 30-inch range or something stupid too, isn't it?
Yep, and Rend too.
Hate it.
And then like the Hurricanum just like rolls dice to determine how many mortal wounds it does to you. Like there's no if it does mortal wounds to you, it's just how many. And then the spell off of the Luminarch is like 18 inches. It goes off on like a 5, I think. And it's like against units of like 20 or more, it does like 3d3 mortal wounds. Like it's pretty gross in current meta.
Here's a question for you guys. So like, do you guys think that the, like, speaking of celestial things, that the Celestant Prime is like underutilized, or do you think he's just like not worth his points?
I don't know. I think the problem is that he is not that useful until later in the game.
And even then, I don't think he's that great. Even then.
Yeah.
So like, I've used him in my last 4 games that I've had allied in with my Seraphon, and like, he's been like an integral part of like being able to like reach out and touch shit. Like, just because like, one, he gets to like drop out in 9 inches out, right? Usually I'll bring him in like turn 3, turn 4. So he's got between 6 and 8 attacks. And like the last game I had, he took out like a unit of 30 skeletons in 1 turn because I brought him down in turn 4. And he like dropped the comet down, did 3 mortal wounds, and then went in and hit and wounded with everything. Neg 3 rend, 3 damage apiece. So like I'm just curious what your guys is like. Are you guys just not seeing him on the board, or is it just that like you guys just think he's not worth it at all?
Combination of both, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, general consensus I've heard is that like it's he just has this problem of like he's not that useful unless you drop him later in the game, and when he gets dropped later in the game, it's like too late for him to really have that much of an impact, because you want to drop him like turn 3 most likely, and that whole time you've been playing like 340 points down against your opponent.
Yeah. Have you guys considered like the possibility of like putting him down on turn 1 and just using him as like a mobile artillery piece, because he's got that 24-inch range, bring down a comet, D6 range on it, and then it just does D3 mortal wounds to everything in that range. Like there's no roll for it. It's just if it touches them, they take D3 mortal wounds.
I have heard of people doing that, and that's maybe a thing. I know every time that he's ever come down against me, I've just smoked him really quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like 3 up save and 8 wounds. So like he's a total glass cannon, but I mean like,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's not like, it's funny that like 3 up save and 8 wounds feels like a glass cannon. Let's just reflect on that for a moment.
Well, I think the problem with him is that like people know what he does. So it's like he hits you on a 3, he wounds you on a 2, and then it's neg 3 rend and 3 damage for his attacks, right? So it's like as soon as he comes down, it's like I need to kill this fucker right now, or he is gonna start wrecking shit. especially if you bring him down like turn 3 or turn 4, because then he's rocking like 6 attacks or 8 attacks. Like it's.
And if it's late in the game and you've already been like holding your own, putting out enough damage, he might be the one that comes in and kills those units you need dead.
Yeah, like that's why, like, to me anyway, he's worth it, because I'm running an Eternal Star Host where it's like a 2-up rerollable save line of lizards that are just walking across the board, not really taking any wounds, and then the stuff that I can't get past, he just comes down in the back lines and deals with it, right? But like I'm not seeing him anywhere else. So I was wondering if he's just, you guys fucking are like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I don't own one. Oh, let me put it that way.
Well, I mean, you're no stranger to conversions. You could just make one. He's just a fucking Stormcast on a 100mm base with some space garbage around him.
100% consider.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm just not that enthusiastic about it. Like, there's so many other things in Stormcast that are a better use of those points.
I'd rather buy Raptors for that point and be doing stuff from the beginning.
Yeah.
Indicator. I don't know.
Like, one of the big problems that you really have with Stormcast is, like, it's a big army, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there, and so you really have that choice to make of, like, what are you going to run? And is he actually, like, not only is he worth his points, is he as worth his points as something else of equal cost that you could take instead?
Right.
I definitely realized I was totally painting this model wrong. I didn't realize that, like I thought, like, his whole front was like a metal plate, and it was like all flesh. Once I looked at it closely, I'm like, oh shit, that is flesh with a small bit of metal on it.
Well, there's an easy fix for that.
Yes, there is. Very easy fix for that.
Yeah, it's called Blood for the Blood God.
Oh. So yeah,
we got some crazy ideas. What else do we have? Beer. I was thinking about running for beer. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to bed. To be honest, I am like, it's sad. It's a sad reality of life that 10:15 at night is like past my bedtime at this point. But
I hear you, buddy. I hear you.
Yeah. You're just in a different time zone.
Well, I'm only an hour behind you.
Yep.
But I, unlike you, have to work at 5 in the morning. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. For however much longer that lasts.
Yeah. How is that whole situation?
Well, the looming threat of being laid off is still there. I find out in should be about 14 or 15 days whether I'm going to get my letter or not.
Yeah.
Which is going to suck because it's like 4 years of your life just for what?
Yeah. Made a decent paycheck in the meantime.
Yeah, but it's like you so like it takes a lot to like get trained to do what I do, and like you do this 4 years of like this hard labor working in like a climate that's the equivalent to like the Caribbean, and like it's fucking, they're like, oh yeah, we're shutting her down, so you might get laid off, maybe. Don't make any plans though, because you might not get laid off, and yeah, like the way they're doing it is just stupid. Like it's incredibly aggravating because they like you can't plan to do anything until you get your letter, and then once you get your letter, you can't plan to do anything either because it might get rescinded. So like how they're doing it is when you get your layoff letter, you get the choice of you can either take your severance pay or you can get put on the call out list. Well, a lot of people like myself are like single income families that like if you're going to get laid off, you need that severance pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get your layoff letter, you're like, okay, I'm going to take the severance, and then you wait for your actual layoff date. And in between when you get your letter and the layoff date, they can resend your layoff. So it's like, no, you still have a job basically. So it's like, okay, well, I can't make any plans in between now and then because if I do go out and apply for another job, if they resend my letter, I have to quit. And if I quit, I'm not going to get that severance pay. So it's like, what the fuck do you do? Because the severance pay is like huge. It's 180 hours at like my rate of pay, which is pretty good. And then on top of that, you get another, I think it's 120 hours for your holidays, and then 80 hours for every year of service. So like it's going to be like like my severance for 4 years is going to be around $14,000. Like that's a lot of money to just be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to quit and go do another job and then say goodbye to like that amount of money in a lump sum, right? So it's rough.
AOS coach says in regards to this to use your time now to prepare, and get your resume in order, start having conversations, and it's a slow moving market, and don't wait until the final outcome to start your search, which is definitely very good advice.
Oh yeah, thanks for the advice, bud. I do have plans. Like I'm just basically like if I do get the letter and get laid off, I'm just gonna go back and do what I planned to do before, which is to be an RCMP officer. So like go and do that. But it's it's just the waiting part that fucking kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The waiting stuff sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
So like what other kind of boards are you guys looking at fucking making? Like how many of these fucking things are you planning on having? Like
I'm thinking like 12.
Yep.
12 tables?
Yeah, 12 tables.
Are you gonna do like one of each realm and then a bunch of like random stuff, or?
Yeah, one of each realm, and then probably some other. We want to make one like a huge castle for like a big siege battle. It's like we were saying with the cartography stuff. People are trying to find these bits to maybe go through a realm gate. So they finally do. They can get to the castle and reinforce the people that are either attacking the castle or holding the castle.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the many ideas. Yep.
And the thought that I had around that was making it the that Chaos Fortress from that Iron Jaws story, where the Iron Jaws like go through, rip through all of the Khorne dudes, and they're like disappointed, so they like prop up all the dead bodies on the parapets to make it look like it's still occupied to try and like tempt the Stormcast in.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That's like the smartest move I've ever heard an orc make.
Yeah, I feel like that would just be a really cool board to make.
Yeah. Mini Wargaming right now is doing like a bunch of AOS terrain. Yeah. And they did a video on like their terrain guy like cut and splicing a shit ton of the AOS kits together to make stuff, and some of the stuff he's made is like really fucking nice. Like really nice.
Yep.
We'll have to watch those.
Yeah, like he took like I don't even know how many realm gates and just like hacked them apart and used the arches to like make this giant bridge, and like it's insane. Like it's some really nice stuff.
Yeah. I know I definitely want to do the Skyport. That is definitely like really high on my list of things that would be like just an awesome, unique board to make. Trying to do something unique and interesting for each of the realms that's like not just like, oh, here is the realm of life. It has a bunch of forests. Have fun.
I feel like the realm of life
The realm of beasts doing like the was like the bone graveyard or something like that.
The Sea of Bones. Yep.
Bones. So the whole battlefield would be like, you know, skeletons of like giant creatures and interesting stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to do. You could literally like just order like a bunch of like Halloween shit, because you can get like little animal skulls, and like you could literally do like a full-size person on a board as like a giant colossus thing, right? And just that with like the rib cage open in the middle of the table.
Yep.
You're reaching into my mind.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point is to just make it over the top and awesome and just make it really immersive and make the rules for the board like really make it feel like the thing that it's supposed to represent and not just be just this static board that you're on.
Yeah.
So I just had a fun idea for the realm of life. How fun would it be to have Nurgle's corruption coming through about a quarter of the board?
Or you could have this scenario start with Nurgle's corruption like taking over the whole board, and then have it like, so your goal is to get off the other side of the table because you can't stop it. So it's doing like mortal wounds to you when you're in the part of the board that Nurgle is
want to be there. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know there was a mission. Maybe we should take parts out of it and incorporate that, where it was called Stormfront before the General's Handbook ever came out. And it was like,
yeah,
the fight a blizzard, and the board you held, like this blizzard would go back and forth.
Yeah.
That would be fun in the realm of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I feel like we could do really interesting things with the realm of metal.
Yep.
Like we could just go full like steampunk.
Yep. I think Bob's already taken stuff apart for that. I think he's got an Xbox 360 and a few other like things he's taken apart.
Wow. All right.
I'm about to. I just ordered a bunch of stuff to redo my network, so maybe I'll give him some routers and wireless gateways to take apart, or maybe I'll just donate them to you.
Yeah.
Get some more reaching through those walls.
Yeah. I've got like just like a shit ton of foam to build stuff.
A lot. There is a lot.
Yeah. Yep. There's a tremendous amount of foam to build stuff. I really like the idea too of like taking inspiration from other games and like some other things that have kind of worked in other games that like real-time strategy games or like League of Legends, like those sorts of board setups that we can kind of integrate into other ideas, but that we know like mechanically proof of concept works somewhere else.
So like missions where it's like you got to go in and destroy your opponent's objective, like home base, or like a capture the flag type deal.
Possibly stuff like that. Like I'm thinking like with like League of Legends in particular, like having the board set up in like a diagonal deployment and like playing corner to corner and having it set up so that you basically have to segregate your troops into like 3 lanes that really can't cross over that much.
Right. I really wish I could like send you guys this Mordheim board for this, but it weighs like 150 pounds.
I mean, the other question that I'm having is like, how do we fund some of this? Like, I'm thinking about like maybe doing a Kickstarter and seeing what we can do.
Don't do that. Don't do a Kickstarter
or a Patreon or something to.
If you're, I would go Indiegogo if you're going to do anything, just because the Indiegogo is like you don't have to actually be like, yeah, if you give us this much, here's what you get as a reward type deal. It's just like if you want to help us out, you can help us out. If not, thanks anyway type.
Yeah, something along those lines, because I think there's going to be some necessary purchases of like prefab terrain.
If you guys are actually going to do like a narrative like tournament type deal, it might be even worth it to like contact someone at Games Workshop who might like
precisely what I was thinking. Yeah.
They're kind of even just working with local shops and being like, hey, look, we're trying to do this thing. Can you get us terrain pieces like at cost or something like that to support
or it? Even not if it's not at that, maybe you make a deal with the store owner who's like, okay, you bring in all this terrain, we will build it, convert it, whatever, paint it, it stays at the store, it's yours. That's the deal. You get a shit ton of painted terrain, and we get to use it for our tournament.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's got how many tables worth of stuff to like that his customers can use, come in, use these beautiful tables, right?
He was actually talking about that recently. We usually hang out at the Battle Standard, which is in East Windsor, Connecticut, which is it looks like a like Valhalla.
Yeah.
Cool store.
Yeah. I mean, their concept is to be like a high-end gaming store.
Yep.
And that's where we're hoping to actually hold this event. And the whole thing, it like most gaming stores you walk into and it feels like a hole in the wall, and this place feels like it's like a really nice retail store and has really like awesome medieval theming, and the tables are beautiful, and they have like not only do they have like 12 tables worth of space, they have like 12 tables worth of terrain.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe that is totally worth it. Like get the game store itself to sponsor the tournament. Like this, like, and say like straight up, like this is a tournament that we will only hold here, right? We'll hold this here, and like because it's going to bring an influx of people into a store, right? So
yeah. I mean, and I don't think that getting them to buy into that concept is going to be that difficult either.
Well, no, like the FLGS thing, like despite what, like, I mean, they're dying all over the place all the time. Like they need that extra support from us, right? Like it's
Yep. And what's very cool about this one in particular is that they're very into the narrative sort of things. Like they have like regular D&D games that happen there. They have a lot of league play for various games that go on there. For like Magic the Gathering, they've stopped all of their tournaments except Commander, which is the like casual multiplayer format that is, you know, much more like, as far as Magic goes, it's much more narrative than any other thing you can do with Magic.
There's actually a video that a competitive Magic the Gathering player did a couple of days ago where like it was his first trip to Adepticon, and he like played in the AOS tournament, and he was talking about the difference between the AOS tournament and the Magic the Gathering tournaments that he's going to. It was a completely different world.
I have to.
Oh yeah. It is an unreal different experience.
Yeah.
Like you play like seriously, if you go to a competitive Magic tournament, you don't have a conversation with your opponent.
Oh no, he said it's totally cutthroat. Like it's totally different. Like
yep. Like people like you try and catch your opponent out on rules shit. Like all the time. Like, oh, you didn't know that rule? Sorry. You lose.
Yeah, that's 20 damage to your life. Sorry, you're dead.
Yeah. Like, oh, you didn't know this really quirky, weird rules interaction? Sorry, you already said what you're doing, what you want to do. We're not going to unwind it because it's a competitive event.
Yeah, he said the thing that shocked him the most was the lack of fear of theft.
Yeah,
he said that's what shocked him the most. It's like people would play for 2 hours and then they would just leave their army to the side and walk away. And he said he was like shocked by that. It's like I guess it's a little bit like he said he guessed it was a little bit more like it's harder to steal a miniature than it is to take somebody's fucking card, but like like the amount of time and money that people spend on these armies and then they just leave them sitting on a table for like 2 hours in between games.
I do that all the time, and I think about it, I'm like, well, am I crazy? Am I crazy for leaving my lovingly made Skaven army at the store for several days on end? I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah. But
there's also there's a different factor, like there's a different like order of magnitude in like value and ease of theft with Magic as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing like one of the formats that allow older cards, your deck could easily be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. If you're playing like the really big formats, like you're talking about like $5,000 or $10,000, like vintage, you're talking about like a down payment on a house in your deck.
Yeah.
And like somebody can just go whoop in their pocket if you're not all over it.
Yeah.
And there is every incentive to do that. Like I have been at like Friday Night Magics where the cops got called because somebody stole something. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I remember when it used to be fun.
Yeah. But like,
sure, it is still fun. I'd love to. I can't play Magic anymore. I'm a recovering Magic player. I can't do it.
Yeah. I think I could play Commander and be like in control of myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the pace of stuff coming out in that game is just so fast.
Do you think it's been on GW now fast, or
it's like they drop a new set every 3 months?
GW is faster then.
Well, I mean, a new set that's like,
yeah, I guess they're not
like 250 new cards every 3 months.
We saw. What did we see this year? Well, we're going to see the Iron.
We saw Daughters this year. That's it.
Yeah, Daughters, Iodin. What about for or Inodith or whatever they're called? The Seed dudes, the Mermaid.
They're not on here. We don't count.
Did you do a 40K? They did the Custodes. That's another new army, and it's only March.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting. That's 3 armies right there.
And that, but also for Magic, that's just their complete sets. Yeah. There's also miscellaneous products that come out in between. They do like a Commander release every summer. They do other special sets periodically that are like off schedule. They do other special releases. There's like pretty much every month there's some new product hitting the shelves for Magic.
Yeah. I remember when I was playing Magic, it was you know, when I quit, it was like Urza's Saga. I think when I quit.
Yeah, that's when I quit too.
And
the first time.
Yeah, the first time. Then I went back for a little bit, and then I had to quit again. And I've been on the wagon since. But I remember they didn't have that much stuff. Like you got a new box set every 3 months, and there was not much in between besides like I said, the 5th edition. Here's a 5th edition box. Here's a 6th edition box. Here's Magic Unglued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped when a Chroma came out. A Chroma was like this Vengeance Angel thing. I can't remember what the fucking name of the set was. It was so long ago, but I was in high school, so it was like more than 10 years minimum.
I mean, Magic is tough because to play on like standard, you have like a continuous investment that you have to make like every 3 months of buying new cards.
Yep.
And if you play the older formats where, you know, it's like using older cards, like you have this like huge money sink just to get invested to build a deck. So like it's either a slow bleed or like a giant investment.
Yeah. Nope.
Warhammer's enough, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
at a gaming shop, at a comic book shop that sold Magic cards at the time too. So I wasn't seeing paychecks.
Yeah,
right. It was like when I worked in the bar, all my money just I never saw
it. Yeah, like I don't know, like Magic's just one of those things. It's just like it's a constant money sink.
Yep.
You know.
To be fair, so Warhammer.
And they've kicked into gear with Warhammer now. That I feel like it's almost on the same level because it used to be you'd see maybe 2-3 new books a year. That'd be between both systems, maybe 4 between both. So you weren't investing that much. You were waiting for your army to come around 11 years later. Works.
Well, I mean, you can at this point you can buy a new army for like $300 or $400 most of the time for most of the armies.
Yep.
Right. And then you're done with that army. And
yep.
It will basically not be touched for years.
Yeah. And now it's like not that at all. Like, if you're a Stormcast player, how much money have you poured into your fucking Stormcast army now? Like, if you're a hardcore Stormcast player who, like, wants most of the stuff in the army, like, you've got a ridiculous amount of shit now, and you've probably got, like, $1,000 worth of fucking miniatures sitting on your shelves, right?
You're 3 books in by now. You're 3 books in.
Yeah.
Last book, the I forget what they called the dinosaur, the concussors and stuff. You bought that book, then you bought the new Stormcast book, right?
Yeah, and like, let's not forget too that they've got like these big expensive kits now. Like a big expensive kit to us before was like $65, and you got a dragon and a dude rider. Yeah, and now it's like, you want Marathi? $160, please. It's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, but like you're actually going to put those things on the table too.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You take into effect the amount of hobby time you spend entertaining, the amount of games you get in, and it's not gonna go out.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, to keep up with Magic, you have to drop $300 or $400 every 3 months.
Yeah,
at least. Like it's probably like I would say to stay like actively playing competitively, you probably have to drop like $1,500 a year, at least.
And you're not spending that on Warhammer?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Huh.
I mean, I'm not spending that on Warhammer. And you definitely don't need to spend that on Warhammer. Like, I mean, how many people are out there that have one or two armies and like they rarely buy anything new for it? Like, you get your army and then that's just your army forever.
Not true. Not true at all. Like, it's like you especially with like some of the stuff that's got like a wider range. So like the Seraphon, for instance, it's like, all right, cool. I can build an army that's just Saurus Guard. Let's do that. And that's maybe I should add a Bastiladon in there. You know what? I could use a couple of Skink Priests. Hey, look, these Carnosaurs are on eBay for $30. Like, it just keeps getting worse.
Yep.
Yeah. But then you have like smaller model lines that, you know, like Nurgle. Like, I just bought into a Nurgle army. Like, I got a whole crap load of Plague Bearers, a bunch of Blight Kings, Great Unclean One, and a bunch of heroes. I spent a few $100 on it. I probably don't need to buy anything else.
You get a Harbinger of Decay?
I converted one.
Okay, then you probably don't need to spend any more money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the only purchases I'm really thinking of at this point are Glotkin. And
a War Shrine? You should probably buy a War Shrine.
Possibly some of the Puscoil Blight Lords.
Those guys are awesome.
Okay, so
have you actually put them on the table yet?
No.
Have you assembled the ones you own yet?
Not yet.
You're not allowed to say they're awesome.
I haven't played them yet. They're awesome on paper, I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are awesome on paper, and I think especially in a Plague Touch Warband, I think that would be really good.
So, is there no room in your list for the, like, I think it's 180 for a War Shrine?
Well, I don't own a War Shrine, first of all.
Well, it's not hard to get. It's like,
yeah.
And like, just unmarked, okay? Unmarked. It's handing out a 6-up ward save on top of your disgustingly resilient 5-up, right? And a prayer on a 3-up where you get to pick a unit within 18 and it rerolls 1s to hit and 1s to wound.
I feel like that's like not worth that many points to me.
Why? Why is it not? You're getting an extra save, and now your Blight Kings are re-rolling their 1s. It's giving you extra chances for those exploding 6s.
It does that inherently.
I think, like, if it's the choice between that and, like, it's either that or another unit of Blight Kings, and I would just rather have another unit of Blight Kings.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you're considering getting a Glotkin and trying to fit a Glotkin in there. Like, why would you do a Glotkin over, like, that's what, 320?
40.
Flyer.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like.
But Glotkin is like a totally different role because he's also like a combat monster.
Combat master. He's handing out +1 attack to everybody within an 18-inch range. He can do -1 to hit, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Well, let me rephrase. If you're going to retool the list to fit in Glotkin, why wouldn't you also try and fit in a War Shrine? Because it's also going to make Glotkin more survivable too, because it's going to give him a 6-up shrug as well.
I'm generally just not that excited about a 6-up ward save.
It makes such a difference. Like, everybody's like, it's just a 6-up. It's like, it's nothing. You know how many fucking times, like, it has saved a unit from just getting wiped? Like, it's insane. And that extra save where it's like, okay, I've got a 4-up armor, and then I've got my 5-up disgustingly resilient, And now I've got a 6-up on top of that. Like, it's like when you add on the layers, it makes a difference. Like,
I mean, I feel like it's just not that. It's not that useful, especially in a Plague Touch Warband, right? Like, you're already -1 to be hit. You're already having your armor save. You probably have the 5-up from the Harbinger of Decay. So, like, how much shit is even going through after that? And then, like, to throw another 6-up save on top of that, like, there's, like, it's just not going to have enough saves throughout the game that it's really worth it. And rerolling ones is, like, one of the weakest abilities, like, one of the weakest buffs that something can get in Age of Sigmar. So, like, and the fact that it's a prayer and it's not guaranteed, like, that makes me just say, I mean, I really am not excited about this. Like, I'm not, like, it's not worth that many points to me.
I guess. I don't know. It comes in handy when you're hitting on 3s and you roll all, like, 1s and 2s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but, I mean, law of large numbers says that it doesn't, like...
Not true. 24 attacks for my Skin Wolves begs to differ.
Yeah, I'm just not that big of a fan of the math. Like, I've, tried to work it out before, see, like, what the value was. Because I know, like, Tom was running it in his Plague Touch Warband for a while. I don't really see the value in it for, like, the way I'd be running it.
Yeah, makes sense. Especially since, like, you've got the whole gut rot spume thing going on. So with the ambush and everything, and them being, like, outside of the 9-inch bubble for the thing, like, I understand that. Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and gut rot spume is just, like, he's ridiculous.
Like, is it just he picks a unit to go with him? Is that how that, like, whole thing works?
It's just a unit of Blight Kings.
So, like, you could take a maxed out unit of 20 Blight Kings and it's not going to matter?
Yep.
Like, not that you'd ever do that because you wouldn't get all of them into base to base, but, like, it's like, redundancy, I guess.
Here's the other tricky thing with it, right? Is the way Gut Rot Spume is worded, it is May and a unit of Blight Kings. So unless you get, like, a ruling from a TO or get an opponent that's a dick about it, you're deciding at deployment what unit is going out with Gut Rot Spume. So if you're running, like, 2 units of 5 and a unit of 10, you get to decide during your deployment whether a unit of 5 or a unit of 10 is going off the table with Gut Rot Spume, if anything at all. Right. You can also choose to deploy him normally.
Yeah. Yeah, that gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of, like, deployment shenanigans, right? Especially, like, trying to get your drops down, because it's like you're already low drop.
Yep.
Because of the battalion. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to put him and a unit of Blight Kings in ambush, and there you go.
Yeah. And the Blight Kings, their musician gives you +1 to charges.
Yeah, it's the
even though you're 9 inches away, you're charging on an 8, which is like 40-something% chance of success.
Yeah, and you're never gonna fail a 3-inch charge ever.
Well, you're not going to get the 3-inch because you don't get to move.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to pull an 8-inch charge, which is not bad. Like, that's not a bad charge to make.
Yeah.
You're going to get it a little bit less than half the time. And when you don't get it, you've got a unit of Blight Kings plus Gut Rot Spume hanging out, like, right next to your opponent that they have to deal with.
You've got stuff that can give them bonuses to their movement too, like the bells and whatever else too, right? Like,
Yeah, the bell on the Great Unclean One and the one of the things on the Nurgle wheel gives you +2 movement. Which is like that's one of the other ridiculous things. Like I'm really enjoying playing Nurgle just because of the ridiculous flexibility of the army.
Yeah, it's definitely a great book. I love that book.
Yeah. Like just the fact that like I can like turn 1 have like Blight Kings move 4 inches, right? But I can place my Feculent Gnarlmaw like in the middle of the board somewhere, have my Great Unclean One next to my Blight Kings with the bell, and I can, you know, easily cast the spell to set the wheel to +2 inch movement. So now my Blight Kings are moving 9, then they move to within range of the Feculent Gnarlmaw, and now they can also charge and run.
Yeah.
So, like, that's getting some absolutely absurd hustle out of a 4-inch move unit.
Yeah, it effectively nullifies the problem that Nurgles had forever, which is they're slow.
Yeah.
Now they're speedy as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that like Lord of Afflictions he's crazy. Like
how did he do for you in the tournament? I keep meaning to ask. How did he do?
He was a valuable player in every game.
I knew he was awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Is that the dude on foot with the fly shield or whatever?
No, it's the hero that you make out of the Puscoil Blightlord kit.
Okay.
So the hero Blight King on fly.
Right.
And you just give him the Rust Fang that like just hands out like -1 to save for the rest of the game, like every combat phase. And he moves 8 inches plus all of your other movement shenanigans. Like I got him into opponents like turn 1 more than once. Like,
is he a blight king, or like does he have that keyword?
I don't think he has that keyword, but
he's a rot bringer. Yeah, he does. He has the rot bringer keyword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He has Chaos Mortal Demon.
Yes.
So
he is
and he's Nurgle, Rotbringer, hero, or he's can really benefit in any sort of Magican army you make. Cool.
Which also means, by the way, you can put him next to a Harbinger of Decay, and he's on a 4-up, 5-up, 5-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and he's 8 wounds.
Yep.
He's never gonna fucking die.
He regenerates wounds. He can use the what is it?
He can give a shooting attack to your Blight Kings too, can he? Or is that the one?
That's the Lord of Blights.
Yeah, that's the Lord of Blights. So it's
he like spits mortal wounds at your opponent in the hero phase.
Yeah, and he can in the hero for each unit. So the Incubatch can heal units near him, and if you have more of the Puscoils near him, they do the same thing back. So if you have him with a unit of Puscoils, they can heal each other back and forth and deal mortal wounds out.
Gross.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And his attack profile is good.
Yeah.
Like he's no slouch in combat.
Yep.
That is
especially considering like you're almost always going to give him the Rust Fang, so like add 1 rend to all of his attacks.
Yeah. It's like the I don't know. I'm Seraphon are wanting for heroes with like decent attacks. So like I just get totally jealous whenever I read like the new stuff that's come out, because it's like you got these awesome models where it's like a Scarvet on a Carnosaur or whatever, and it's like, okay, wow, the rider has 6 attacks with his spear. That's awesome. But they hit on 4s and wound on 3s, and it's -1 rend and 1 damage. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's fantastic.
What's really funny though is like the loadout with the Great Unclean one that I've been using is like the Bell and Bile Blade, which is like the buff wagon build out.
Yep.
And it's like a wet paper bag. Like he gets into combat and does nothing.
Yep. Yeah, he's there for the buffs and to not be killed.
Yeah. He was very effectively used as bait one game. Like I just moved him out and I was like, come get me. And then like my turn came back around and like, okay, they're gonna retreat out of combat and the Blight Kings are charging you.
Yeah. I love doing things like that. It's fantastic when you can actually, especially with like big centerpieces like that, where it's like, yeah, go ahead. You're gonna regret it. You don't know it yet, but you will.
Yeah, I love that too. It's very fun.
Yeah.
I built my warp grinder. Everybody was going after it. I converted my warp grinder. It's huge. It's imposing looking, and it's a 6+ save 3 wound model that I don't care about.
Yeah.
So everybody was, I told them like it's only 3 wounds. I don't care about it. 6 people didn't care. Just went right after it. Fine with me. Go get it. Yeah. It's not doing anything. It hits on 5s and wounds on 5s. I don't care.
Looks totally badass, but it's no good.
The psychological impact of this game is just unreal sometimes.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. Like little things too, like when you tell your opponent you're gonna retreat out of combat, the look that you get sometimes is like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. The number of times that I've retreated and my opponent's been like, oh yeah, I always fucking forget that you can do that.
Yeah. But using skinks is like the best psychological fuck you to an opponent ever. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna move 8 inches out. It's like, they do what?
Onto the objective. That's what was happening to me. I was like, God damn skinks.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
It's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they'll be in combat with like one of their actual heavy hitter units, and then they'll just have a unit of skinks sitting here, and you're like, do I attack the heavy hitter or do I try and kill these skinks because I know they're just gonna fuck off right away, right? So it makes them have to make that choice too. It's like, these guys could retreat right onto the objective, or I'm going to get smashed in the face over here.
That's exactly what happened to me. I thought I was so smart. He had a unit of skinks that I wanted dead, but there was also a unit of whatever, the lizard riding dudes that were there too, and I didn't want them getting an objective. So I said, I'm going to be so smart, and I'm going to double charge my Storm Fiends into the skinks and into the lizard riders. And that he did exactly that. He's like, I don't care. I'm leaving combat now. I'm over on the objective where you have nothing over there. Yeah. And I can't leave because you're stuck with them and attack. I was like, fuck.
The number of times I've won Scorched Earth because of 2 units of 10 skinks is retarded.
Yep.
Like that scenario by itself when you have skinks is like stupid, especially like because you can teleport like across the board turn 1 and just sit there and wait for him to move off an objective towards you, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to move 8 inches out. It doesn't specify that I have to move backwards, so I'm just going to move 8 inches around you as long as I end up outside of 3, and then I'm going to burn this objective. Like
crane rats can do that too.
Yeah,
they can retreat. They can even charge after they retreat.
Yeah.
So they can book across the board in Scorched Earth. That's something I've been wanting to try. Don't tell Paul.
I think I pull a retreat move at least once a game on average.
Oh, it's fun. I know you like to do that, and that's why I remember it in my toolbox too.
Yeah.
I don't use the retreat every game, but I will like pick a unit of Seraphon up out of combat and teleport them to another part of the board, which I guess is kind of like a retreat, but like it is so useful because it's like, okay, well, my Source Guard aren't going to be able to get through this, so I'm just going to teleport out and move away.
I mean, I think retreating strategically in AOS is one of those, like, people are like, oh, AOS has like no tactics. It's just like, oh, just go fight. Like, I don't know, man. Like, the tactics of when to retreat and how to retreat and
so much like
piling in and positioning your things to like screw with your opponent's pile-ins and
the like most amazing retreat I've ever seen is my opponent fucking we were playing the fuck is it? I think it's like Battle for the Pass or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I had the 2 objectives in the center, and I was pushing on his. I had to move my units like a little bit further away from my own, but like I was pretty confident that like it wasn't going to matter. He literally like I had a unit in combat with his brutes, and there was a realm gate just off to the side. He retreated through the realm gate, lost all but one of his brutes. They popped up on the like my board edge because you can pick either another realm gate or any board edge. Passed it, like moved there, passed his battle shock test, and then won the roll to go again. Moved on to the objective and won the game by fucking 4 points.
See, I love games like that. Like crazy shit happens from out of nowhere. I love it. Love it.
Like unit of 5 brutes runs out of combat, goes through a realm gate. 4 of them die. And this one guy is like, nah, I'm not going anywhere.
And they do not have a high leadership either. What have
no.
6? I think there's 6.
Yeah, it's 6.
Good.
No.
4 of them and leadership 6, that's
a
nice roll.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I agree. There's so many like, and you do hear that a lot. Like, you just meet in the middle and fight it out. And it's like, no, not if you're playing it right. And everybody always harkens back to the heyday of 8th. There's the old Warhammer. I'll just say, of how many tactics were in that. Yeah, there were a lot of tactics, but it was totally different.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, wasn't that just the exact same fucking thing you guys are bitching about? Like, all those blocks of dudes still ended up in the middle of the board in combat with one another, so it was still, like, exactly what you're bitching about. Only difference is that if there's a guy standing directly to the left of me, I can charge him still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's all right.
High elf players have pissed people off with that shenanigan.
I think one of my favorite moves to do in AOS 2 is playing with flyers and getting into combat with them and then just retreating over my opponent's units.
Yep. That nobody expects that, or that you can use your flight ability to hop over units in front of them.
Yeah.
So you can like try and shield their unit off, and you just fly right over that unit and hit the one behind it. You'll fly. Yep, it's fun.
Or that, and people forget that the charge move lets you fly.
Yeah,
like you can roll your charge dice and jump over.
Yep.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do, like, especially with charges, is to get 2 units on one and pin them on either side so that their pile-in is fucked.
Yeah. Paul's done that to me before.
Yep.
Oh, very fun.
Yeah. And a rule that I was not aware of until recently that really fucks people up when you do that is once you break unit coherency, you can't pile in.
Yeah. Once you like remove dudes that are like in the middle, like say you've got a line and you're taking from the center, once you fuck that up, you can't move because once you actually move to pile in, you have to go back into coherency, and you can't do that if there's a big gap in your unit, so you just can't move.
I thought that it didn't matter. I thought they FAQ'd that where you could take models from wherever you want and still pile in. But once it got to the movement phase, if you were out of combat, that's when you had to get back in coherency.
I don't think so.
I could be wrong about that, but I thought that's what I thought. I remember reading that. But
that would be a nice fact to get. But like, I don't know. Personally, don't be a dick. Take your dudes from either end or from the back. Like, don't put yourself in a situation where you're taking models out of the fucking middle of your unit so that your unit ends up being 2 units. Like, it just don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I know I screwed myself up with that particular rule a couple of times playing Vanguard Wing. Because like if you like usually it doesn't really matter where you take your models from, so you take them from like somewhere that's like not in combat because you can just teleport the next turn. But then if you get double turned, then you can't pile in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movement.
It is 11 o'clock in the evening. We've been going for quite a while. I need to go to sleep.
I hear you, buddy.
Yeah. So enjoy your work at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, thanks, man. Much appreciated.
So maybe next Friday, the next time we do this, we have to get a AOS coach on, because I know he had some Twitter stuff going on with he ran malign portents in his area, and it was from what I recall on Twitter, it looked like there was like a good 30 people there, and it looked very successful. He had it like very nicely set up. I remember he had like certificates and frame certificates and trophies and stuff like that. And that's a bunch of stuff that I'd like to ask him questions about, because that's part of my plan for the leagues around here, is having stuff that people can take home and put on a shelf. I think that's better than a gift certificate for credit for me. I know I've been in tournaments where you take home some hardware. That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to get, you know, an actual trophy.
Yep. Even medals.
Yeah. And we got to try and make some connections with more of the Neo guys to see, have some discussions about building a narrative community and building narrative events. I just put a message out on the Neon Facebook group. Be like, yeah, we're trying to do this thing. We need advice because we don't really know what we're doing.
Crazy ideas. We have big ideas. We want to do
big ideas and big ambitions and no experience. So
I have some experience, but not like super narrative. I don't know. We have a tiny bit. And Bob's run a lot of stuff. We do have some experience, but not Age of Sigmar experience, I suppose.
Yeah. Anywho, time to shut it down for the evening. It's been fun, boys. Thanks for being on as always. And we'll see you all later.
See you later.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.